Hey everyone, how are you doing? And if you like to camp in British Columbia, this is the video for you. I've been camping in British Columbia for well over 30 years, and there's a lot more new resources out there, so I wanted to show you those. So for most people that camp in British Columbia, they go to BC Parks website. I'll link to a video I did with lots of information on BC Parks. But again, most people that are car camping, which is front country camping, use BC Parks website. It's a new website, recently new reservation system, incredible resource. And you know, I said that BC Parks is really front country camping, but you can do backcountry camping there. But for me, I find BC Parks is mainly used for front country camping, but you have a bunch of options to filter down by area, the type of camping you're doing, facilities, so much more. And here you can go, oh, there's camping there, because this video is really about camping, but you know, this is a great resource for parks, hiking, biking, everything, swimming, day trip. But I'm focusing on this video on how to get a campsite in British Columbia. So here I go to the beach. Look at all the information they have. They have detailed maps. So it's a incredible resource here. The BC campsite, BC Parks campsite information. So I'm gonna back up here so you can see it's incredible. I put a link in the description to BC Parks, more about BC Parks, to book a campsite in British Columbia, how to book, etc. You know, reservations. Here I'm going to front country. The great thing is that it used to be 2 resources, now it's all one. So BC Parks has its own reservation system. You can book 4 months out. You need to have an account, and there you go. So BC Parks, amazing resource. Now in the last several years, I want to get out of the busy parks, especially in the summer. So I'm doing what we call, you know, backcountry camping or overlanding. So what I'm doing is going to more remote places, and backcountry camping, you know, without a car is very fun. But the recreational sites and trails in British Columbia resource is incredible. If you want to camp, you will probably need, for a recreational site, a 4x4 or a vehicle, in most cases with some clearance, because you're going on often open logging roads in British Columbia land, and there is usually forestry going on. Now, more about recreational sites. You know, this is primarily, as I said, British Columbia land. And there's a myriad of ways of different ways that they're managed, these recreational sites, because there's so many. But often what the BC government does is hire a private company to manage different recreational sites. Therefore, you'll see different resources at recreational sites, like there might be firewood, there may not be. Overall, recreational sites don't have a lot of resources. They might have a ring and a fire pit, maybe an outhouse, but not a lot, not much like when you go to BC Parks. Anyways, I had to show you recreational sites and trails British Columbia, because it has a new website. Before we look at that, look at this resource and this map, and you can click in here. You can get more information, all sorts of information. You go to the interactive map, which is very cool, and look around to find fishing, all resources, any fires of note, very important to know. So really incredible. This is now jumping to the BC government website. So, but really, there's more information here. But the most important thing is to be on recreational sites and trails in British Columbia. And tons of resources here. So, Okay, so now we talked about BC Parks. We talked about recreational sites and trails BC, both managed by the government of British Columbia. Then I wanted to talk about Parks Canada because these are parks managed by the federal government. And I did an amazing video last year, an amazing trip to TOFINO. And that campsite was actually in a Canadian park, so Parks Canada. So clicking here, especially, well, for anyone, for British Columbia residents or tourists, like the tourists love this because if you're going across the country, coast to coast, there are parks across our whole country here. So great resource. And for you, British Columbia campers, Parks Canada is where you want to go if you want to go to that amazing campsite in TOFINO that I did last year, and I'll link to that video. Okay, so now we talked about government resources, BC Parks, recreational sites and trails, BC Parks Canada. Now I wanted to talk about private organizations, private companies that have campsites, or DMOs. And DMOs are destination marketing organizations that are business to business or business organizations that are promoting tourism and travel in their area. And it's a great resource. You're probably not going to book a campsite on there, but it's a great resource. First one I looked at here is Destination British Columbia. This is for our whole province. Interactive maps, so much to do, so check out that. Then we go to BC Parks, or Go Camping BC, so a private organization, great resources, about the same prices. You're just dealing with private businesses versus the government. So, great resources here. A lot of people only go to this campsite, especially when they have RV. I find RVers love Go Camping. Okay. BC Lodging and Travel British Columbia, great resource. Looking at all sorts of stuff that they offer here. We talked about recreational sites. Then, next is RV Dealers Association of British Columbia. The RVers, even if you're not an RVer, their websites, there's a lot of dealers in the Fraser Valley, and they have a lot of resources because they're out there in the beautiful British Columbia traveling around. So check out even if you're not an RVer, check out that. More DMOs, destination management organizations, I'm showing them here. I really used this resource on the amazing trip I'll link to when we went 4,000 kilometers all the way to Prince Rupert and Prince George, and we used their websites for sure for their area. Here's the Thompson and Okanagan Tourism Association. Again, tons of information. Prince George is the one when I did my 4,000 kilometer road trip up to the interior pretty much. Fish waters, go fishing, pretty cool. So there, I just really wanted to show you where you can get information and book a campsite in British Columbia. So there you go, and get out and enjoy some camping in beautiful British Columbia.